3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. It is the AAMP Agency, Adventure and Activity Marketing Pros, tuning in for another episode on the podcast.
What is happening, everybody?
Hey, what's going on? And we are recording today in studio, and we brought in a guest from Tracked Out Adventures, DJ Osborne. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
You know, it's a pretty nice day over here in Vegas. Is it snowing over there?
You know what? It's funny. The weather here is so crazy. It's 70 one day. Yesterday we had a blizzard. It's 60 today. So
one of our other clients hit me up this morning. His Tesla. He's like, the range on my Tesla sucks today because it's cold outside and it's snowing. I'm like, yeah, we don't have that problem over here. It's beautiful. My Tesla's fine.
Yeah, I heard in Nashville was getting snow too, or something like that. East Coast has been getting hammered. Wow. It feels like.
I know that's your business. I know you pray for snow, but snow. Honestly, like the thought of snow kind of gives me anxiety. I am so happy to not be around snow anymore. I just, sunny days. I think of my boat out on the slip. I'm ready to go out to the water. I'm not about that snow life.
Yeah, what kind of boat you get?
I stepped it up. I got the Nautique G23.
Oh,
ooh,
dang.
Those boats are nice.
It's only gone out once. I'm excited. I'm ready to spend some time out on the water. So, I like that lake life. I wish we had more lake options.
A little bit about boats lately.
Are you? Well, that's how you get roped in, because all of a sudden you need a wakeboard boat, and then you go shop for a wakeboard boat, and you're like, okay, I can buy a wakeboard boat. I'll buy this used one. I'll buy this 06. It's like 50, 60 grand, right?
Yeah.
And then you own it a year and you're like, it's okay. But then you go look and it's like everything you want in life is $100K. It's like 100K is
or is that just where you're at your life?
No. It's not. It's not at all. Unfortunately.
I get fortunately my business partner has a Pavati.
Oh shit. Oh, well.
What's that? What's the price on that?
Pavati is an overpriced aluminum wakeboard boat. It's kind of a rarity in the world because they're stupid expensive. It's $300 and change, but
yeah, they're spendy. Yeah, but they are sweet. I mean, but those Nautiques, man.
So yeah, I call it wakeboard porn the same way you're into like snowmobile porn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Nautique Paragon. That's kind of like the boat porn.
Oh,
yeah.
What is the season? Because we're in April now. We got jet skis going out.
It's season. We're deep in it.
Is the water? What's the water?
No, the water's freezing. Water's cold as hell. But a couple more weeks here, we're rolling. I mean, that's the best part about being here is like our season is from now until November.
Yeah.
Now until
November does get cold. I would say October.
So you being a Utah guy, have you made it down to Powell? Because Powell is basically like a wakeboard guy.
We used to have a houseboat. My wife and I and her siblings, we all went in on a houseboat together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sweet, man. I want to get back to that.
Yeah. That seems like a solid way to spend a weekend, or a week or whatever.
Yeah, we were just talking about the houseboats.
Yeah, we usually go down for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place is so rad.
I keep watching videos. Again, that's kind of like, wakeboard porn. That's where every great wakeboarder in the planet goes, is they just live in Powell and do cool shit in Powell. But during the summer, if you want to go during prime months, those houseboats are big money. It's like it's a solid way to spend $10,000 in a week.
Yeah, we had a middle of the month July week.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, ching. It was sweet. I mean,
so
money well spent, though.
Yeah, I bet it's a great week. What I always keep looking at is I think it would make sense to go out in like October, where it's still warm enough and the water's been warm all summer, and the houseboats are 2/3 of the price. They're not half price, but instead of it being a $10,000 week, it's maybe a $5,000 week.
It's like those cabanas and those pool seasons in Vegas where they got the peak season and then the off season and stuff. So it's awesome. It's anything going on in like current news today? I mean, it is 420 today. It is. I
want to celebrate that life. You know, it's fun. It's not on 420, but I have to laugh. Last night I was like, you guys probably don't. It sounds really lame when I say it out loud, but last night I was watching The Voice, and Snoop Dogg was one of the guys on The Voice. I'm like, what the hell is Snoop Dogg, the guy for The Voice? But
he just, and then over the weekend too, there was that fight on that Triller fight. Jake Paul.
Did you watch that? Are you into that?
I'm into that, but I didn't watch it. We were busy. We had a crazy Austin motorcycle tour last weekend, so
that sounds probably more like adultish than watching a Jake Paul fight.
Snoop Dogg was on that too.
Yeah.
And then another. This is just a funny thing too. They added music into it. A lot of people saying there was a lot more music than there was fights. But they had, I was reading the tweets and I thought this one was funny. They said this is like if a bar owner won the lottery and then paid to have all of his favorite performers all at the same place, because it was like Too Short and E40 and like
that's awesome.
All these people, and it was just pretty funny like that. I mean, I get the concept and I think the concept is really cool, but I mean, I know people are disappointed in the whole fight in general.
Yeah,
it was lame. I thought it was lame. I saw the replay.
So.
You didn't miss anything. I don't think you missed anything. I thought it was lame.
It was like a 1 minute knockout, and dude was, everybody was saying from the beginning, dad bod boxer fighter.
That's me. That's what I'm going to be, as a dad bod boxer. You being out in Utah, you guys don't celebrate that 420 life out there. I mean, we don't celebrate it. I don't celebrate it here. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not legal in Utah, is it?
No, not yet.
But it's not legal, but it is partaken in.
Yeah, it's very. I know some people that do some stuff.
Not you, but if you were asking for a friend, you probably know where to get some, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
My sister had a baby today, actually.
Oh my gosh! Well,
morning,
the kid's traumatized. I mean, it's 420 baby.
Whole family had some jokes. But
is that what they do? I mean, it's kind of the modern day, like 420. I mean, my kid was born on tax day, 4/15 or tax deadline, but
420 is way more.
Now everybody
than tax day.
Everybody extends their taxes anyways, and
you're probably going to get kid just gets a shitty birthday for the rest of his life because it's on tax day. It's like, I'm sorry, we're not going to Chuck E. Cheese. Do you know what that costs? Oh man.
Yeah, but on the same time, Uncle Joe was just handing out money. You know what I mean, this year to everybody. So
didn't hand me any.
Yeah,
I didn't get any for mine.
For the kids, for the kiddos though. That's what it was. It was all those tax credits on the kids.
Yeah.
It's the only time I wish I had more kids.
I mean, you can claim.
You got a couple kids, don't you? What do you got?
Yeah, I got some boys. Yeah.
How many?
2 boys.
Oh, there you go.
2 boys, and then that's it. Just 2 boys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough.
Well,
good. I'm actually getting snipped next week too. I'm done.
Oh,
I'm out.
We've had conversations.
That's a better
about
life.
That.
It's a better.
We've had conversations about that too. I'm now not a bull out in the pasture anymore. I'm a steer, so they cut me out, so I'm done too.
On another show I listened to, it's the funniest thing ever because growing up, you were basically taught for years and years and years, like, don't get her pregnant. Don't get her pregnant. Whatever you do, don't get her pregnant. And then all of a sudden, you're supposed to, like, now you got to get her pregnant. What? Yeah. What do you mean? Now I got to approach this totally different than But yeah, I think you'll like the cut life. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's a good way to live.
My wife would like more kids, but you
better be careful.
My brother's already making fun of me. He's like, man, if you had kids right now, just think. He's like, you'd be falling asleep and playing soccer with them in like 10 years from now. How wrecked your body is. And I'm like,
how old are you? How old
37.
Are you now? Oh
but,
yeah.
I've broken like every bone. So
really.
So really, I'm like 47. Well, I feel 47.
You're taking that osteobiflex to make sure that those joints feel good, and you've got pains that you didn't realize that you had until now you're 37.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, in that, that is the shitty part. I'm 40, and I definitely have some pains that I really didn't think were going to be there, but my knee, man, that knee just keeps aching. That's why I'll let you keep doing what you do. So let's talk about what you do.
Yeah, let me give them a little bit of an introduction here, and kind of then you can tell us a little bit. Because, we love to know tour operators or people in the adventure experience space. That's exactly what we do. And so, we wanted to bring you on the show. It's a client of ours. We redid his website, Tracked Out Adventures. It is in Utah. They do motorcycle, ATV, UTV, snowmobile tours. You're actually used to be kind of like a professional rider, or still are, or still were. Were, I guess, keyword.
Yeah,
or
well,
what?
You're 37 now, so are you still?
Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, I retired from the professional motorcycle riding, quite a while ago. But most people recognize me from like Nitro Circus DVDs and stuff like that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I got involved in Nitro Circus kind of in its infancy, and helped create that brand up until the time they kind of sold it off. So
that's cool.
Fun.
Didn't Nitro Circus do a touring show? For a while.
Yeah.
And then it was in Vegas.
Yeah, they still. I think they took some time off for COVID, but
it's a pretty solid hustle.
Sure, they're going to be back at it pretty soon.
Yeah.
Is that still? Obviously you would know. Is it still tied to Travis Pastrana, or how is that?
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
I think I'm pretty sure. It's always been called Travis Pastrana and the Nitro Circus.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the modern, day Evil Knievel, right? That's kind of how
the ringleader of that, tribe. So
when you said it got sold off, I didn't know if he was still involved. It's funny you say that because I literally just watched the Gymkhana thing the other day.
Oh, nice.
So the whole, that Travis Pastrana thing. I was watching that Gymkhana, whatever, it's Gymkhana 47 or whatever one it is, where
there's a lot.
There's a lot of them, but the new one where they had Travis with the rally car, I think they did it in Maryland. I think they did it in his hometown. That's just neat. Well, and what's funny is because I didn't know you were tied to Nitro Circus from before, but I was, Alex was going through your video that you've uploaded for us the other day, and I was like, this looks just like, this is one step removed from some Gymkhana stuff.
Yeah. But
that's sweet. That's crazy.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about where you guys are located at. You know what I mean? A little 30-second, pitch of your guys' business. And then we'll kind of go into how you kind of got into the tours, how that all makes sense. And then, a little bit of background history on yourself.
Yeah. So we kind of operate in two locations in Utah. Northern Utah is our primary location around Park City, Salt Lake City area. Sure. We have a bunch of different trailheads we guide from. We primarily work off of Outfitters permit with Forest Service, so we have an insane amount of land to operate on. Most tour companies here are working on private land, and that's just we're not about that life. We want to give the people the true backcountry experience. So Park City is like our main kind of hub where we do snowmobile tours, UTV tours, and motorcycle tours. And then, we're starting to operate down in St. George, Utah, where we've been doing motorcycle tours for 2 years, kind of low key, just for, clients that really wanted to ride during winter. And I think that's probably going to be the next place we really have a actual facility, so we'll kind of be operating in southern Utah, northern Utah.
Gotcha.
We'll just do UTV and motorcycle tours down there.
So with that forest land, tell me a little bit about that, because that's kind of an interesting thing. Do you guys have to have permits and you know what I mean, or how did that relationship come about?
Yeah, so the permit thing, of course, if you're operating on federal land, whether it be BLM or the forest, you've got to have you're supposed to have some sort of, outfitter's permit to do that. If you're guiding, obviously, if you're doing self-guided rentals, whatever, you don't need that stuff. But when you're utilizing that land commercially, you do have to have a permit. So there's a kind of a pain in the butt process. I've known guys when I first got my very first permit I got was for a 20-mile trail. That's it. That's where we started, a 20-mile trail. I had dudes calling me all over Utah pissed off because they're like, dude, I've been trying to get a permit for 30 years. How did you do this? And what it really came down to is we just had a solid plan in place as how we were going to operate.
Sure.
I mean, that's really what it took. And I think the Forest Service was looking for like a good partner out there, because we're not, surely we're, using the land and we're paying for this permit, but at the end of the day, we're kind of a partner. We're looking out for the forest. We're teaching people things like leave no trace, tread lightly, all those different initiatives out there. And I think they wanted someone who would really push that,
sure.
And
yeah, that's cool.
it seems like a lot of people have a problem with federal government. Yeah,
it's challenging at times.
Yeah, it's challenging.
Well,
so
I think it's interesting because, most people struggle to find a way to make their passion their job. And for a guy that came from motocross, or not motocross, but I mean, I've seen you're stunting on sport bikes, and, I can about imagine how that goes. I remember my first wheelie and how it's scary. And then I see you doing like endos and the crazy shit on a sport bike. Makes me feel kind of like a little bitch, but that's okay. You just seeing like how you've basically created a life where your entire life is spent, riding sleds, riding riding UTVs, riding dirt bike. That has to feel pretty good.
It's pretty cool. I remember my dream was, I remember in high school, I was like, yeah, I'm going to ride motorcycles professionally. And I grew up in this little tiny town in Wyoming, and people would laugh at me. They're like, dude, you're crazy. Never going to happen, and after the Nitro Circus thing and my riding career winded down, I was a software engineer for a bit because
Really?
I always liked technology. I think it's cool, and I've always been a part of that. But after sitting at a desk for like 6 years, I was going crazy, and I just like burned my whole life to the ground because it was die or like reinvent who I used to be and
Sure.
continue on the path of the moto and the snowmobile and stuff like that. Like that's truly who I was born to be. So
Is that how you ended up out in
need to go
Salt
after
Lake?
it.
Because that's an interesting piece, because I thought you probably transitioned just from being in, the motocross or motorcycle side of it to where it's like, hey, we're, doing big country, snowmobile films. And it just was the natural progression. I had no idea you had dabbled, had a desk job, software. Like that is polar opposite of what I would have guessed you'd ever done.
Yeah, and that's what's funny is when I was a software engineer, I was still doing like shows here and there as I was retiring, and people would say, "Hey man, what else do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a software engineer." And they're like, "Yeah, right. There's
That's
no way."
awesome.
And it's true. I mean, I didn't connect with the people I worked with, stuff like that. I'd be like, "Hey, what are you guys doing this weekend?" They'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna get together and game or do this," and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going to go to the sand dunes, or I'm going to go ride my snowmobile," and then I found out that I was pretty good at snowmobiling, and I met some guys who make a backcountry snowmobile film, and I started pushing that more and more and more, and I was just like, man, I really miss working in the industry. Like I always thought when as I worked for Nitro Circus, I'd be involved in the action sport industry somehow.
Sure.
Whether it was through racing or making films, whatever it was. And I had to get back to that because I mean that's who I am, and
Most of
I
you
can't
guys
live unless I do what I was born to do. I mean,
most of you guys end up in the industry as a sales rep for Can-Am, or you're selling clothing for Thor or something like that. That's kind of always the natural progression, and then you're still
Thor is that?
Yeah,
is that still popular? I mean, it's pretty.
I think Thor MX is still around if I remember right.
Sorry, that dates me a little bit, but
Thor, man.
What could it be? Fox Racing.
Well, that's where I was going with.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been in the thing. Is Fox still around?
Fox is still around.
I think they're bigger than ever.
Yeah, I mean, well, they should.
as big
They
as
should be.
ever.
I thought that was actually. We were watching a Netflix documentary the other day, and they were talking about Converse. Do you know, And I was like, that'd be a sweet ass documentary. And I don't really know nothing about the back history of Converse. Do you?
I don't, other than the fact I've got a pair of shell toes somewhere.
And I mean, they've been around for like a while. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy to think like.
It's kind of funny too. Like when you brought up Gymkhana.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look into Ken Block's story, DC Shoes
Yeah.
was founded by Ken Block.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I knew that. And then
whole, like
Rob Deerdick.
Rob Deerdick. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of wild.
It was a better time back then.
It was a good time.
Because how they brought it up was they were showing like somebody from back in the day, and it was like in the 90s, and he was like, yeah, my brother was kind of like a clothing designer. Oh, it was on that Mark Wahlberg documentary. So that's what I was watching it on, and he's like, yeah, my brother, you know what I mean, was kind of doing these pants and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, I wonder where, like, you know, people were doing that back in the 80s, 90s that are around like today, you know, from the Converse guys and like the Vans, stuff like that.
I don't want to say I like miss those times, but that's like my go-to playlist is from, like, you know, late 90s, 2000s, you know, rock like that, and watching all that stuff and how that played out. And even, you know, if you're a motorsports guy, I always talk about the Fast and the Furious stuff, because back then I used to own a car stereo like performance shop, and it was right when that got popular. I had the S2000 that was, you know, on huge wheels and totally ricey, had the huge wing. And I mean, I was like 22 years old. I thought it was the coolest shit.
Road sounds.
That was a long time ago.
It was. At the time, it was.
Yeah.
Had the Honda Civic, you know, that's way too loud. You thought you were really doing big things back then.
It is funny. I mean, there was some rice burners or whatever in the softball parking lot still, like, you know, doing some meetups and stuff, and Underglow. Remember Underglow under cars? I mean, that was...
Your kids are still young, aren't they?
Now it's Underglow on your UTVs.
Yeah. I mean, that is true, I guess. I mean, yeah, do you guys... I mean... They probably have some pretty pimped out UTVs.
No, they say that every kid that owned a Honda Civic now owns a Jeep Wrangler or a Razor, and all the money that they put into their Honda Civic is now just put into their Wrangler and their Honda Civic or their Can-Am side by side, because you see some of those side by sides, like, yeah, that's exactly it. You probably have a Jeep Wrangler and a side by side, but. Yeah, it's easy it doesn't take very much, and all of a sudden you got a $50,000 Can-Am.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's too much.
So you, before on our pre-show, I mean, you were telling us a little bit about some parts and accessories and stuff like that. So in your guys' business, I mean, is it kind of fun to kind of be able to spend a little money on, you know what I mean, toys for your business?
Yeah, you know, the one cool thing, something we've always tried to do is like personalize our machines a little bit, give you something a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, first off, we don't have crappy machines. Like, when you're gonna come ride with me, you're gonna ride the same machine I would ride. Mm-hmm. And so doesn't matter whether it's snowmobile or side by side. And luckily I have a really awesome business partner who he's of the same opinion. And so, you know, we're doing like cooler things to the machines and making them stand out a little bit. And then just making, like, the whole thing when I started this is I wanted to give you the same experience I was getting out of snowmobiling or riding UTVs or whatever, you know. I don't want to give you I almost hate being called a tour company, because it's more of an experience. Like, we're selling you an experience, and the word tour drives me crazy, because I feel like it's just like, it's this follow the leader thing. And, you know, in some way it is. I'm a guide, and I have to show you where the goods are.
Yep.
But, you know, on the snowmobiles, it's your day. Like, you get to decide how far you want to turn it up. You know, I mean, there might be a bill attached to that at the end of the day if you turn it up too much.
Sure.
But, you know, I'm not a babysitter. I'm just a guide. I'm there to show you the goods. And so, that's kind of been our thing is we want to give you a personalized experience. We want to give you really cool machines and make you, and I don't know if you guys have seen some of I'm sure you have, our YouTube channel with our client videos.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, we try and make a video for every one of our clients that comes through, just to, like, give them this memory of, man, that like, you know, we're driving these cool machines, and we're out there in the backcountry. I almost died.
Yeah, so that actually goes along to we did a last week, or we did about photos and stuff like that with a rafting company. So do you guys look at that with video as part of your guys' revenue?
Not really. We just give it to the clients, because the way we see it is, if I'm giving you this content, you're going to share that content for me, right?
Sure.
And I'm also going to use that. I'm going to recycle that content through our marketing, and
you guys do produce great content. I'm very happy that you guys deliver content. That certainly makes our job easier. It makes your guys' stuff look amazing. It's cool.
Yeah. I just think, Gary Vee said it, he's like,
oh shit,
your company has to be a media company. I don't really like Gary Vee that much, but I like one thing that he said, and that was like, in today's world, you need to be a media company. And
or if you're not producing content.
I didn't know if I was ready for that. I didn't know if I was ready for the Gary Vee bombs here. Bringing
truth bombs.
Bringing out, what he had it. What was his book? Was it Truth Bombs, or what the hell was it?
No, it wasn't.
He's got all kinds of books.
I was ready for you. I was just like, he's bringing out this.
A couple of
Gary
books are pretty good. I forgot about the books.
Yeah.
I dabbled in some life coaching things.
Yes.
I myself hired a life coach. That's how I figured out all my
you did, huh?
BS in life. Yeah.
So you don't.
I think I burned my life to the ground like 5 years ago. I was done, man. I was out. I had left my wife. Dude, I had it. It was it.
Go into that.
Yeah. So it just like hit me one day. I'm just like, boom, is this like what life is? Like, my whole life I wanted to do these things. I was in it. The Nitro Circuit was kicking ass, blah, blah, blah. I got away from it. I got out of riding. I didn't even have a motorcycle for a minute. And motorcycles were my identity. And I was just like, so this is it. I go to work 9 to 5. I program some stuff, that's it. That's it.
It's pretty sad, isn't it? That's
threw in the towel.
And it just like, it hit me hard. And some people, it's good. They need that structure in life, and it works. But for a guy like me, it was killing me. I wanted to, it was to the point where I wanted to end my life. That's how dark it got. And there was a guy I resonated with. He's actually here in Utah. People love him, people hate him, but either way, he like spoke to me because he had himself done the same thing. He just burned it all to the ground.
I am 90% sure I know who you're talking about, but
I bet you could guess it.
It wouldn't take. What's his name? Throw it out there.
Sean Whalen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Lions Not Sheep, Sean Whalen. He has, a lot of coaching groups, but he had an experience. He still does these.
Yep.
But it's an experience where he takes 8 guys and, helps you come to terms with all your BS in life, right? And get it all out on the table. And the biggest thing was telling the truth. Like, what did I really want in life? And how can I just say what I want in life? Because, we're kind of programmed to lie and be nice to people and dance around the truth,
Sure.
It's hard for people to just be forthright and this is
put it all
what
out there.
I want, and it's hard to do that, but I decided I was going to take his challenge to do so, so I hired him as a coach. I went through this experience with these 7 other guys. And from that day forward, I pledged to be a better man and lead a better life and go after what it was I wanted. And had I not done that, there's no way I'd be in the position I am today, and I always tell that story to most of my clients actually, because in a crazy way, we get a lot of men that come through, our program, and I push these guys because I want them to develop as riders, and I want them to do something they've never done before. And so, I'll tell the story, and at the end of it, it kind of hits them that they just did that. Like this last weekend, we had a guy who he'd watch his 2 buddies do all the obstacles all the time back at home. Well, he had no choice but to do them when he was out with me because there was only one way.
Yeah.
And he had to do it, And so by the end of it, he was hitting, like, we were out riding on these like spines of these mountains and stuff, all steep on each side. And it's some stuff he would have never done before, but he did it. And at the end of it, I told him my story, and he was just like, dang, dude. I'm like, you're going to go home now, and you're going to ride better than your buddies because you're going to look at everything back there and be like, oh, dude, this is a piece of cake. This DJ dude and Justin, they took me through hell, and
that's cool.
I'm ready for it.
That's super cool.
And so
it's Yeah, it's interesting because every week or every day you're essentially taking men out, and it's one step removed from like basic men's group. I mean, in fact, I think you and I are in in a couple online men's groups, and you've played it. You've done the Sean Whalen program. You see the struggles that a lot of guys go with, and the fact of like when they go on these I don't want to call them retreats because that sounds lame, but when they're coming up and they're going snowmobiling with you guys, or they're getting away from their wife and kids for that 4 days, 3 days to go out ride, that is like the time they need to actually become. I don't want to say become men, but to not be pussies, not be.
Yeah, no, that's dude, that's exactly it. And so, I mean,
it's weird.
The modern day man is like being killed. I mean, he is.
Absolutely.
And this, like, we can't go to war. We can't fight. You know, like when I went through Sean's thing, I got to fight everybody there, and I got my ass kicked. But at the same time, I was like, dude, I was on cloud 9. I was like, oh my gosh, like I should fight all my friends.
I've heard of that too, where they do like the fighting things and all that stuff. So, yeah, so you did that. You did how do they do like a fist fight between some people or something like that? And
there was a bunch of different things we did. I swore I wouldn't tell everything, but I will tell you, we fought each other. You know, we had like some MMA training, then we fought each other, and it was good.
He's not everybody's cup of tea, but I followed him for a long time, and he's got some things. We all have our demons, and he's had his, and he's got a good message.
Yeah.
It's interesting it's interesting because it's such an issue, especially one step removed from the business side. You were in a business or you had a job that basically was consuming your life. And it's pretty easy to get stuck in monotony. You know? It's pretty easy to just like go through the motions and wake up every day and do the same shit. And it just consumes who you are. So the idea that you were able to spin off of that and, essentially dig yourself out of shit and create something that makes sense for you and makes you happy. And here you are, married, 2 kids. That doesn't suck. Seems like that's okay.
No.
Yeah,
awesome.
you got
my wife digs what I do. She loves it, more than anything. She wants to come work in the business with me.
That's awesome.
That's what I was going to go into. You got some pretty good like staff and stuff like that kind of, you're able to create some jobs.
Yeah. We have an awesome staff. All of our employees kick ass. I mean, they're either a professional in the industry or they're just like the most upbeat, awesome person ever. So
I wish I could give some shit to Steph, but she's pretty good. She's pretty good.
We put an immense workload on that girl, and
I see that she has to deal with you on a lot of days. So I get it. I'm a pain in the ass. So I've seen the back and forth. You're probably a pain in the ass too. So
yeah,
it's okay.
It's me. It's my partner. It's our CFO. I mean, we
stuff is challenging.
We put a lot on her, and then awesome. She's also, her boyfriend. He works for me, and he also works for my partner too. So
oh wow, keeping it close to the family, so she gets to go home to this shit too.
She gets to go home to it too.
What is so tell me a little bit about this, because we were going in like, what is probably, because you guys do stuff all year round, right? So is there, which is cool, because it's like some people in the tour operation, they look at it like seasons, right? You know what I mean? And they're like, hey, this is my season, and then I'm done, close up shop. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, don't make any more money in a sense. You know what I mean? But you guys are like, you know what I mean? Because I'm a big believer in this too. It's like you got to figure out or to adapt to look at it like an 365-day year type of thing. You know what I mean? So you guys are able to offer that. Was that always the plan, or did it start with one or the other?
It was always the plan to operate year round, always. Just because in Utah we can. I mean, geographically we could, and obviously snowmobile has its own season kind of thing, but everything else we can kind of work around, and do yearly. But
there has to be a portion of you that enjoys the UT. I mean, you appear to me to be a sled guy, but the UTV thing is like so much easier. easier in the sense that your entire business is not dependent on snow.
Yeah.
To make that work. And I mean, you know, we've gotten to learn your guys' business quite a bit. Well, yeah, I'm sure that's how it made sense. It's like, hey, we're out of snow and it's March. You know, what the hell do we do now? That season is so short that it gets, you know, every week it's like, hey, I really hope it gets snow. And then if you don't get snow, then it's like, what do we have? We have 4 weeks. We got, you know, 8 weeks of snow. It's really hard to build a business just off of that.
It is. And Mother Nature, you know, is beat me up a lot in the past. The winter I started this, it didn't snow. Worst winter in the history of Utah. I mean, in 140 years, it was the worst winter.
That can't be good for Park City. I mean, Park City is built around snow, so.
Yeah, and then the next year, it snowed too much. And so we had to delay opening for summer.
Yeah.
Because the mountains were still covered in snow till July. I remember it was July 4th. And my wife's like, yo, we should go snowmobiling today. I mean,
For real?
Yeah.
That's wild.
You know,
That's
like,
wild.
my friends were going up to go snowmobiling on the 4th of July. It was crazy. And so it's the UTV thing was like, all right, well, we can do this whether it snows, whether it rains, no matter what. Because weather doesn't scare me. You know, we get a lot of people who are like, oh man, there's a gnarly snowstorm. Are we still going to snowmobile? Yeah, we're going to snowmobile. Like, I don't care about weather. Same with motorcycles and rain. They're like, well, it's going to rain. Okay, cool. Well, bring your rain jacket.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun day, you know?
DJ, I'm waiting until I know it's going to be warm and sunny because I don't want any of those variables. I'm coming out.
That's why I love St. George, because St. George is like,
I agree,
really awesome weather. I mean,
people have always said that, like St.
I
George.
love St. George. It's beautiful up there.
It is.
I'm on a quest to not wear pants this year, so I'm wearing shorts basically for the entire year. So I'm not going to be able to come participate in snowmobile stuff, but I'm happy to come ride. I'm happy to come ride a side by side. But as long as it's sunny outside and beautiful, I don't have a rain jacket.
Well, we should just meet in St. George like next week then. You know,
we could almost make that happen.
We could.
We could almost make that happen.
Really nice there right
now.
I know.
So
I'm
nice.
like, man, maybe I should come down and visit you guys since I'm, you know, so close.
Totally can.
It's probably more fun to come hang out with you because I don't want to say that like the Vegas thing's been done, but I don't know, man. I'm down to come drive some racers out and
that is one of my like goals or whatever, and I've even mentioned it before and have not executed it, but to do more experiences, more tours. Yeah. You know what I mean? We've talked about it. We haven't we haven't even taken you up on your tours yet or anything like that. So
yeah.
I mean, why do you got to live so far away?
But now I'm a little scared because like DJ's gonna give me like the Sean Whalen experience after I ride, and he's gonna be like, "All right, Jaden, you ready to fight or what?" And I'm like, "Ah, shit, dude, I just got here, man." Y'all are being like,
I've seen how these guys ride. Truthfully, I'm a little terrified. It is some of that stuff. It's like too much.
I went to Cook's.
We always have that discussion, like with our content. We're like, all right, what do we show? Do we show
too much, man,
what we're doing, or do we show like what the client's doing? Like what, my wife's like, that's too gnarly. You can't post that. And they're like, no, we got to post it. It's really cool.
It's too gnarly.
And post something that's not as cool too.
Yes.
I went snowmobiling in Cook City one time, and I was the beginner guy just because they've been a couple more times, but I'll admit I kind of played that card like, hey bro, if I get stuck, like you got to help me dig myself out and stuff like that, because I was like, I kind of liked playing that card rather than being the most experienced on the trip. You know what I mean? It was kind of nice.
I'm scared. I've dug out. I hate digging out a snowmobile.
That's what I'm saying. You pulled the card.
Like I see that
That's
snow.
That's why you come ride with us though, because we do it for you.
That sounds wonderful. That actually sounds fucking delightful.
You get stuck 1,000 times a day. I'm gonna get you unstuck every time.
That's good.
And honestly, that is something that it's like people need to understand. I think it's like like guided hunting trips. You know what I mean? Some people they're passionate about hunting, or they like to do it, but then it's like, hey, they just need a little bit of some guidance or a little bit of like someone to show them the experience. You know what I mean? And it's not unmanly to do that. You know what I mean? Like I'm saying like
unless you're going out with DJ and the fucking hungry.
I know you guys are all sitting here like,
Yeah,
quit being a little bitch. You know
Why
what I
are
mean?
you
Going
such a
through these
little
like these mental experiences. I'm sitting over here like, God damn, I got to take my kid to soccer a little bit here. Gotta pick up some food.
And the DJ hits you. Oh shit. I'm actually, the one thing I actually have to say is that after a day of snowmobiling, I'm surprised you come home and you're actually capable of being a dad and you don't just pour yourself into bed at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Every time I've gone out, I am so goddamn tired. You must have figured it out at this point on how to actually be a civil, functionable adult after.
The first 2 weeks of the season are the worst. I'm dying, and Justin's over here. He's like, dude, it's training. Just do it. Just pull this.
Train.
And I'm like, dude, this sucks. I'm like, I can't do this. He's like, you got this. Because Justin, who's one of our lead guides, he's an ultra marathoner. This dude runs like 100-mile.
So he don't care.
Races in the mountains. So he's good to go any day of the week. He's gonna we had motorcycle tours this weekend. He hadn't ridden. I'd been down. I had ridden, pre-ran the courses where we run. He comes down, immediately hops on the bike, and is immediately awesome. I'm like, oh, man, how do I get on that guy's level,
So is that tell us a little bit about, for the people that listen or whatever, and even other tour operators and stuff, what does a season look like to you guys? You know what I mean? Is that you guys going out 6-7 days a week? What does that look like?
Yeah, we just base we operate 7 days a week. So for me, building this company, I've worked, if I have to work, I'm definitely there. So it could be 7 days a week, but from December 1st through usually the end of April is our snowmobile season, our prime snowmobile season. Mm-hmm. And it is something that we're very passionate about. So we really dive into that. Justin and I we put all of our energy into snowmobiling then. And then we by April, I'm done. I'm ready to switch to motorcycle season, and boom, immediately on the bikes, until end of October. And then November is kind of a month that we get ready for winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm sure you got that slowdown period a little bit. I mean,
not much, but yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, May's a slow month too. Like May is,
yeah,
we're kind of waiting for the snow and the land to dry out so we can.
True. Mud. Yeah.
And it's still, I suppose, like up near Park City, it's still chilly. I mean, I would imagine you still get that group of people that wants to. That's me. I want to wear shorts. I want to come out on your UTV tour and wear shorts.
Yeah.
So if I'm coming to Park City, I'm probably waiting until June, and
Well, even then, we went UTV camping, my wife and I.
I saw
with
that
our kids
actually
last June.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and it was 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Like she was like, I'm out. I'm going to sleep in the trailer. I can't do this.
June. I was even saying that too, because I lived in Colorado a little bit, and and I've been up in the mountains on I-70 there when those ski resorts close. You know what I mean? Even in the summertime, and it's still jackets. You know what I mean? It's still beanies and stuff like that. It's not like Steve shorts and Crocs.
This is why they invented the Hyatt, because I don't want to go. I don't want to stay in your camper, in your tent. How is that? I think it's interesting. How old are your kids? You got young kids, don't you?
So my oldest is 12. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. 5. He's older than I thought. Yep. Are they totally into it? Do they think this is the coolest thing, or are they not feeling it?
It's kind of weird because they're naturally gifted, because my wife also is really. She's a badass on whatever snowmobiles or driving or whatever. And so
is she in earshot? Is that why you said that?
No, she's not even here. I wish she was, because she would have been so pumped, because she never believes that I talk about her. Yeah. So
same.
But our kid, my oldest is just yeah, Dad, it'd be cool if I was driving all day. This sucks. Because he's he already gets it. I went to Coos Bay, and I let him drive my Can-Am X3 around. He's, 10 years old driving this thing around. And now he's hooked. Now he's just well, I can do it. So I should be.
I got this, Dad. Just let me take this way powerful machine. You'll be fine.
and they get cabin fever. They're like, Dad, I want to go camping. I want to go ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool that the family also really digs.
And
that's the hardest part though, is finding the balance between like, when do I get to take some time to just go enjoy this stuff myself? I mean, I have fun doing it with clients, but.
So to that, would you enjoy it? Because I agree with you. So, as you know, we have a Jeep tour rental company over here. We've got slingshots and all that. I never drive the Jeeps. I don't want to say that I'm not interested, but they're too readily available. It's like, it's not fun to go out and take a Jeep, because why would I?
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm curious to the point of, if you, on your free time, I mean, are you going and riding just to go ride, or do you?
I think
usually
he's
I'm
born to
going
ride.
like,
He's born to ride. Yeah, it's
dude, if we're not snowmobiling, I have some quest that I'm going on, some canyon I'm going to go ride, some creek some night ride we're going to do. We still are trying to develop ourselves as riders too, because we're looked at as professionals in the industry, and so
that night ride you guys did the other day was awesome. That looked badass. That night ride looked insane.
That in the daytime is insane. I mean,
that's over in St. George, isn't it? Or where's that at?
Oh yeah, you're talking about that. Yeah, that was in St. George. Yeah.
That looked badass. That night ride over in St. George looked incredible.
I know. I'm almost like, man, it'd be cool to do like night rides.
Where was that? Where was that?
I think it's on his personal page.
Oh, cool.
I think I posted a photo of it on our.
Go to their
Tracked
Facebook.
Out Instagram though.
There we go.
Yes,
it was bad. There we go. Right now, down to right there.
Oh,
there
yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
That looked super cool. See, I'm all about that.
My buddies are fire dancers, so they're like, dude, we're gonna do this fire dancing thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's kind of part of the experience thing of like why people should like, you know what I mean? There is a difference of tours. Like, I know you hate to use that tours, but it is an experience, and what you're doing is you're booking professionals who, you know what I mean, know the terrain, know the equipment, and you get to use their experience and their knowledge, you know what I mean, to have a fun experience for yourself. So I totally think that's cool. Yeah, people should check this out, their Instagram, their YouTube, check out their website, you know what I mean, and I think that's a cool.
I hear their website's badass.
Yeah.
I know the guy that bid it.
super awesome.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. If you put together that night ride, that's sweet. I think that was badass. I saw that shit. I was like, this is cool as hell.
And also,
my friend owns the company that makes all the lights and stuff for the razors. So
it's convenient.
And it's a cool. I mean, it's totally a cool way to. I mean, I see you posted it, and then you got some like feedback. You know what I mean, as well too, from customers. Like, it's totally something that. Yeah, people would be interested in doing.
I saw your motocross ride, because I know that we're deep in the promotion of that, and I think it's super neat. But you're definitely catering to some guys that have some experience riding there. Some of that riding you guys have posted up in those videos. You guys are going on some pretty awesome stuff out there. But it's definitely not for my first motocross riding trip.
No, the motorcycle thing's kind of. It's obviously, you have to have some sort of experience riding, right? Mm-hmm. And we have terrain. Like, if you are new to motorcycle riding, we're going to go ride some fun roads. It's going to be a good time. We're going to work on your skill. If you're an established rider, then, we're going to go visit the single track and find out. I'm going to test you a little bit and figure out what you can and can't handle. We're either going to turn it up or down. And this weekend we had 3 guys who were pretty experienced riders, and we were able to do like 2 days of just phenomenal riding with these guys. I mean, they were like, I cannot believe this exists in the West, and that's the whole thing is there are millions of motorcycle riders all over this planet, and how do we connect with them and get them to come to Utah and ride with us,
I agree 100%.
That's what I need you guys for, though.
We're working on it, man.
I don't know.
We're working on it. I mean, I think, we've talked about it a lot, and I think that, that motorcycle one is such a different experience than your guys' normal snowmobile and UTV tours.
It is.
Because of the need to be an experienced rider, and because I think I think it lends itself to the idea of like what we've talked about, almost to the idea of like those men's groups of multi-day getaways where it's like a great way for, the guys to go out, ride for a couple days, go experience Southern Utah. And, the scenery is insane. So,
well, that's totally it's a new part of modern day anyways. You know what I mean? Like those mental health retreats, you know what I mean? Even for corporate stuff, like a lot of people are revolving their business around that because people have access. I mean, people pay for knowledge, right? Yeah. Like that's always been a thing, you know what I mean? In life coaching and stuff. So people pay for knowledge in the tour and experience space. Like we've seen that now for a while. I see that being a big trend.
Yeah. And I mean, with my own experience, as when I was a software developer and I felt like I was dying inside, I mean, I was looking for that experience because living on the edge is what was keeping me alive. Yeah. And it was, I paid a lot of money for Sean's 3-day experience because, I knew it was going to make me feel alive again.
Is that what we run in your ads as like, are you feeling like, do you feel like you're dying inside?
I'm maybe not say like that lingo, maybe a little something more creative, but I think honestly that's a great business model. You know what I mean? Even too, like back to even your content creation and talking about that and believing in that, that is a huge thing of what operators need to do all the time anyways, and they need to think of their business like that because you're creating content to show your experiences and then adding a price tag to the back of it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I think in this industry too, a lot of these guys have been around for 20, 30 years and they're doing the same exact stuff they've been doing for 20, 30 years. Yeah. And the world's changing. And that's like, when I got involved in this, I recognized that was happening, and that people were dying for these experiences and they were seeking some way to disconnect. And, we wanted to go deep in the backcountry, where they can, where there's nothing, it's just them. And for some of the guys, they honestly feel like they're going to die back there. Like, they're like, how are we going to get out of here? And you look at their face and it's sad and you're like, oh man, this guy did not have a good day. And then we get back to the trailer and he's like, dude, I survived. That's the best day of my life. And I'm like,
so we need a story.
Wouldn't you know it, man?
So we need a story around that because I know you're taking out all these people. What's the biggest train wreck?
Yeah.
The biggest train wreck.
Guess
there had to be one. There's definitely a story of a train wreck because you're definitely taking out some amateur riders that shouldn't be backcountry snowmobiling.
Yeah. Man, the problem is when guys, the motorcycle thing, I guess this is a perfect example. Okay. Guys that ride motorcycles who don't race, they believe that they're higher up in the hierarchy of their riding abilities than what they truly are.
Sure.
Like a guy that races, he knows where he lives. He knows it. But a guy that doesn't race, he's like, dude, I'm the best of my friends. I'm like an awesome rider. Well, that's not always the case. In fact, most of the time they're terrible riders, just because they have no real training, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so we'll get these guys out here and they're like, yeah, I rode a 300 and da-da-da. And we get out on the mountain and we start riding and they're like, we're on the top of this mountain. We're at 10,000 feet. And they're thinking they're going to roll all the way to the bottom of the mountain if they fall off the bike or something. And so had this guy, he was completely panicked, would not move. He had to walk. Like, we literally had to hike him to, like, the next trail junction where there was an actual road to ride out of. Like, he would not ride the single track. And
his name was Steve
Edwards. Was like, I rode a 300 on my buddy's farm.
Yeah. I get Steve was looking for I guess you don't want to say like somebody died or most injured.
No, I hope nobody died.
Most injured or the most expensive crash or most expensive fix that you had to do.
We had a bachelor party that did the most expensive crashing.
What was that?
They crashed every machine.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. That makes you happy when you load up all the machines.
And we had a snowmobile tour last year, and these guys were like, yeah, we just paid our credit cards off. We're going to get crazy today. One dude was like running into trees and stuff. And I was getting super pissed off. And I told Justin, I was like, dude, you're going to have to deal with these guys. And he's like, bro, you're the guide. Why don't you just take them into the nastiest canyon in the Uintas? And I was like, it's a good idea. So we dropped them into this ravine. It was, just stupid deep. And none of them had the skills to get down it or up it. And so I let them just fight for their lives for 2 hours trying to get unstuck and stuff. And by the end of it, they're like, dude, we just want to go back to the truck, man. We're done. And I'm like, oh, yes.
Well, I don't even know what he said at the beginning there. He said, we just paid off our credit cards, bro. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like,
that was like, they were going to trash the sleds, break everything, and just whatever. I mean,
like, how does, I never have once woke up in that way where I'm like, you know what?
Me neither, man.
Dude, I'm going to go over to Dream Exotics and I'm going to rent this Lamborghini and be like, bro, just paid off can't wait to max this fucker out. It's like, what?
Like,
Yeah,
and everything.
Every once in a while, you get that guy.
That's like the line right there. I was like, I've never heard that before, dude. Never heard. Like Steve's line is like, hey, if you're gonna wreck it, just fucking wreck it.
Yeah,
you know
I want
what
it totaled. I want the insurance claim. I've got your insurance. I want it totaled. I don't want it back in like half-ass.
Yeah.
I need you to wrap this around a tree.
Yeah, that's what we say to people. So that's why I was kind of like wondering. I was like, where's he going with this on this? I was like, fucking just let it buck. Just put it off the canyon.
It's funny when you say that about like motocross riders because I am 100% that guy where I've had plenty of dirt bikes. I've had a lot of street bikes and like, I've had the street glides and the CBRs and all the pick your bike, right? And I think I'm an okay rider. I'm a good rider on the street. I didn't enjoy riding a dirt bike. I had a RMZ 250 and like, I bet you no shit if it had 40 miles on it.
Yeah.
That was probably high. I'm probably embellishing by twice as much as what it really had. You would put me up on a mountain on a big ass dirt bike. I'd probably shit myself.
Yeah.
I'm not about that life.
I should say street bike riders are actually the worst.
I'm sure we are.
They are the worst because the principles of leaning and stuff are completely opposite.
Yeah.
So, the guy's like, oh, dude, I ride street bikes every day of my life the last 20 years. I'm like, oh, you are going to be so sore by the end of today.
You are. Every portion of your body hurts. Portions of your body that you didn't think would hurt.
We said that after I came back from like snowmobiling, like how like, you know what I mean? How you're just like a wreck.
Yeah.
And I'm not tall enough. I'm not, you get on that RMZ 250. I feel like I'm right at the right height. And then you got to kick this thing and it doesn't start. And you're like, oh my God, this is the end of my life. I'm just going to kick this thing until my leg explodes.
E-Start bikes. That's life right there. You got to get E-Start bike.
Or I'll just come up and ride your bikes the one time I'm going to need to in the rest of my life. I'm kind of on an itch to buy another sport bike. Do you have a sport bike still?
No, I sold when I first started the company. I sold my last sport bike, which was my prized possession. It was a RC51.
Oh shit!
A Nicky Hayden edition. Nicky Hayden was like,
those are neat bikes.
I love that guy so much.
Those V twins sound so neat.
That was actually my question I was going to ask, like, because you guys like toys and stuff like that. Like, what is your ideal like machine? You know what I mean? Like, you have your boat. Ooh. You know what I mean? What is your?
If you were buying a motorcycle, what would you buy? Sport bike.
Ooh, I'd probably go with the BMW 1000 RR.
Yeah. Dude, it's like that's the shit right there. It's like 200 and some odd horsepower. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep looking at used ones because I can't justify the new price. But supposedly they got that new M edition BMW 1000. Yeah. I'm like, that's just sexy, but it's like $35,000.
It's insane, right? I'll tell my wife all the time. I'm like, yeah, I want another sport bike. She's like, why? So it can sit in the garage and not be ridden like the last one?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So what if I take it out for one day a year?
Yeah.
I can justify owning it for that one day of a year.
I'm all about ducks too. I think Ducati, that new V4.
Oh yeah.
They're just so beautiful. I hate a lot of the other bikes, so I'm not, I would never go out and buy like an R1 or you know, and
Me neither. It's got to be somewhat exotic, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm not interested in buying a ZX10 like
Yeah.
In fact, I think the new ZX10s are just hideous to begin with. So,
yeah.
And then, yeah, another question there on like what is, because we talk about this too, like, so your ideal garage space, you know what I mean? Like how many, like what do you need? Like, is it,
is there a such thing as an ideal garage space? How big's your garage? I see all the bullshit you got in your garage, and you got a lot of shit.
So we have kind of two locations. I mean, I store a lot of stuff in my garage, which my garage is like 1,000 square feet.
Yep.
Okay.
It's pretty good sized garage. But right now, I'm trying to remember the details of it. But the garage that my partner is building, where we house all of our stuff, is insane. Insane. I can't wait. I'm like so stoked about this building being done, but it'll be 8 bays, 14 by 14 doors.
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to come.
A wash bay in it.
We're going to come down and do the podcast there. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the plan.
Yeah.
So let us know about that.
He goes above and beyond with that stuff. I mean,
because when you buy some toys, you need some room to park toys.
Yeah.
And as you get older, you want to have more toys, and you don't want to get rid of your old toys to buy more. So you basically just outgrow all of your facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pain. I mean, it's a struggle.
I got Tito down here like rolling his ball. I'm waiting for him to hit the power strip.
My dog.
We got the office dog here, Tito, and he's got a tennis ball today.
Oh,
nice.
And he's just rolling it over the power strips underneath the table here, and I'm just like laughing.
It's going to shut off. It's like, well, that was the end of the podcast. Have a nice day.
That's still, yeah.
Well, this is awesome, man. I mean, I like that we can sit and BS. I think what you guys do is very, very cool. We're definitely going to come up and do one of the things, but it's not going to be the dirt bike or the motocross experience because I'm a giant puseta.
I'm coming up for the DJ Osborne experience. You know what I mean? That's what I'm coming up for. So,
here's a question. How long have you lived in Utah?
2005 is when I moved to Utah.
Okay. Is it not, I mean, and I know the answer to this, but I think it is very weird St. George doesn't have any bars. There are like no bars.
It doesn't, does it?
No. How weird is that? I mean, I know why. Because does Park City? Park City has to have some bars.
Oh, tons of bars, man. Park City's like a drinking town.
Yeah. St. George, Utah is not. There are no bars.
Is that where is that near that BYU or
BYU is up in Salt Lake City, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up in Provo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Provo's pretty far away still. It's funny, because I mean, a selling point to coming and riding snowmobiles with us used to be, before COVID hit, was the nightlife. I'm like, guys, there's a nightlife here. So you can come ride with me all day, and then you can go to some of the sweetest clubs out there at night. I mean, Park City really is a good place.
Probably not a lot of ugly chicks in Park City.
No.
There's probably
what was the year I always talk about every time Park City, I think when the Winter Olympics were there. What year was that?
2000.
2000. So, it was that long ago. Yeah, that's a while ago.
Yeah.
What is the Winter Olympics schedule coming up?
I mean, I'm so off the beaten path on any of that. Isn't it in like Tokyo or something?
Yeah, I forgot. Well, they rescheduled it because of COVID. There was supposed to be an Olympics, and then they rescheduled. I mean, it was 2020 was the year for some Summer Olympics.
I don't know. I quite literally have no clue.
I feel like Olympics used to be the thing.
2002. That's when the Winter Olympics were.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I was. Yeah.
How did your experience go skiing, snowboarding? How was that for you?
Oh man. So I tried skiing for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Because I've always snowboarded.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good snowboarder, but the whole family was skiing, and my wife, she skied, and she said, today has been the best day ever because I got to watch you struggle at doing something. It was so hard.
That is.
I went up snowboarding. So I am, as you can probably tell from this conversation, I'm not very athletic when it comes to some of this stuff. And we went up last Christmas, I think it was. We went up snowboarding up at the local bullshit up here in Vegas, right?
Mount Charleston?
Mount Charleston. It could have been a goddamn hill. It didn't even need to be a mount anything. Could have been the smallest hill ever. And I have never hurt so much in my life. Every portion of my body hurt. When I got to the top of the hill, I was like, you guys can send up that snowmobile or you can send a helicopter, whatever you have to do to help me get down to the bottom of this hill. Oh my God, that was torturous.
If there was a Hyatt up at the top, he was just going to stay.
I was going to live there. I was going to live at the top of that mountain until the next season.
Until spring came.
Yeah, and then I was going to ride down the hill on a bike or something that was... I have no idea. I can't snowboard. I had that board strapped to my feet. I'm like, this thing goes really fucking fast. And they're like, you just got to lean. Just dig in. That's all I...
See,
all you do is just like destroy your leg muscles trying to snowboard all day and ski.
I think I lost my ability to snowboard now because I haven't done it like long enough. And I used to go back and forth ski and snowboard. I even did those little small skis, and I kind of like those without the poles. And then, I don't think I can snowboard again. Like just the way my body, my body flexes now. I don't think I could.
It's reckless. It's a reckless sport.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's funny.
Well, it's good to know that you're not going to, I mean, if I ever call for help, you never have to check a mountain. You never have to check any of those weird, I'm not stuck snowboarding or anything like that. That didn't happen.
That's awesome.
I operate way better from the captain's chair of a boat. It's pretty safe there. I can say I'm like out doing recreational stuff. It's really just drinking.
Do you you go out on the lake? I mean, because you know what I mean with being motorcycles and stuff like that. Sometimes it's like, do you own a boat? No.
No, I don't own a boat.
Yeah.
Like I said, my partner has a boat, and he is always out on that thing. And the only reason why I ever go is him. And then I have another buddy that has a pretty sweet boat, and every once in a while when my family's like needing a lake day, I just call him and say, hey man, I'll put gas in your boat.
That's why I got Steve. Steve's got a boat. I'm like, hey brother. Yep.
Can you surf?
Yeah.
Can you?
I learned how to surf. I don't even have to use the rope.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Look at you.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well,
when you have a Pavati for a day all to yourself,
Yeah, you can learn almost anything. You got somebody to operate a boat. You can get up. You can figure that shit out.
Yeah, all my friends are pissed. They're like, there's nobody on that boat except, your partner and
glass water. And if you can go out on a Tuesday afternoon when nobody's out on the water and the water's smooth, you can learn anything, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it probably took me about an hour to, really be able to like throw the rope in and ride the wave. But, dude, I got it at the end. Like, Jonathan taught me how to
Look at you.
surf behind his awesome boat. So
yeah.
Well, all of a sudden
I'm hoping he brings it back out this summer.
If he listens, drop that hint. Like, bring the boat out.
Hey, if you just want to bring your boat out,
Awesome. That's totally cool. Well, DJ, thanks for coming on or whatever with us and talking. We're totally gonna come and take you up on it. Big shout out. It's been fun working with you guys. It's been awesome.
No,
you guys
love everything you guys have done with us. I mean, I'm stoked. We were able to do some stuff. I know. I can't remember how the timeline worked, but I wanted to work with you guys back in the day. I just didn't have any money, and then when we finally got some.
Well, I'm happy you chose to spend some of that money with us.
So. Yeah, appreciate that 5-star review there. That was a good review. I was waiting for it, and then he just whenever it was. But no, seriously, guys, if you guys have not checked out Tracked Out Adventures in Utah, check them out. They do motorcycle, ATV, UTV, snowmobile tours. Ride with the professionals. Check it out, dude. Life's an adventure, and you got to go with DJ. I mean, he's a pretty sweet guy. So.
And if you're a little bitch, he's gonna smack the shit out of you.
Yeah, he'll even check out for those experiences.
Use the mountain voice and yell at you a little bit, but
yes,
we'll get you there. We'll get you to the parking lot at the end of the day.
That's all I need. I just need an assurance you're gonna get me back to my vehicle. Pour me into my vehicle like a can of soup.
Might not be able to walk, but we're going to get you there.
That's all I need. That's the guarantee I need. Sled's still going to be on the mountain because I'm too scared to ride it down that hill. But as long as you can make sure I'm back, we're good, man.
Yeah, well, thanks for listening,
Thanks,
guys.
sir.
Make sure you guys check them out in the link below. Subscribe, share out this podcast. Like it. Thanks again, DJ, for coming on with us. We'll see you guys all next time. Everybody be safe.